A very warm welcome to you. Many thanks for finding time to be with us on the program. As you know, we remain your source for all the latest events and happenings in the world of insurance. Now, if today is your first time, I would say, where have you been? As they say, better late than never. So welcome on board. On the lineup this week, first we join Faith and our guest, Mr. Alexander Idem, the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Amplify Digital Agency, on the CEO Rendezvous for the continuation of the exclusive interview where they discussed this topic, the slow adoption of technology by the Nigerian insurance industry. Speaking during the interview, Mr. Idem said that data must be at the forefront of the Nigerian insurance industry priority checklist. Take a listen.
I think that as insurance industry stakeholders, I think it has gotten to the point that data must now be at the forefront of our priority checklist in terms of how do we harness and get our customer data. How do we manage this data? So what type of data policies do we have internally? And are we even making strong data policies internally so that customers also have a lot of comfort in us that their data isn't going to be breached?
On the lineup also, we will bring you a rerun of highlights from the 2022 Business Outlook session organized by the Media Independent Association of Nigeria, MIPAN, at the Radisson Blu Hotel, Ikeja, under the theme, Growth Possibilities in a VUCA Economic Environment, Myth or Reality Ahead of a Pre-Election Year, How Leaders Can Make the Future. Keynote speaker was Mr. Taiwo Oyedele, Head of Africa Tax and Fiscal Policy at PricewaterhouseCoopers. The event, which was well attended by media practitioners, provided a platform for critical conversations on the Nigerian economy. Let's check out excerpts from the event.
The Nigerian economy, every time this comes up for discussions, there's always a big sigh and a big of, conversations and different perspectives and opinions as to what we're doing well and what we are not. A lot has been said about the management of the economy. So much more will still be said on a day-to-day basis by experts, analysts, commentators, and even the most important, the man on the street.
If Nigeria was at a level where it should be, economically speaking, the entire crude oil we produce per day would not be enough for our own consumption. America consumes more than 12 million barrels per day. America is not even twice our size, right? So which means if Nigeria was at the level of America, we should be consuming about 6 million barrels of crude oil per day. We produce less than 2 million.
Plus, of course, all the other extras we bring you each week on the program. Details in just a moment. Please stay with us.
In reality, the insurance regulator in Nigeria has been very rigid when it comes to innovation, when it comes to adoption and even deployment of technology in driving insurance operations over the years. But we're beginning to see, how be it late in coming, we're beginning to see that the current leadership of the National Insurance Commission are forward-looking, they are open to new ideas. But I just want your thoughts. Recently, NICOM, who has been perceived as, of course, anti-technology, anti-innovation, anti-all of that, they launched a Bima Lab InsurTech program in partnership with FSD Africa, and they are looking, it's more like a platform where InsurTech can come and play and have fun. Let's see what you can do, and we'll give you the open hand, the platform to play. I just want your thoughts on that.
I think it's a splendid first step for me. I think that this should have come 5 years or even 10 years before.
ago.
Because what you have then done with that, and what NICOM has done with that, is that it has signaled to business people, it has signaled to people within the tech space that we are willing to embrace you. We are willing to sort of open up this industry to disruption as well. And we are seeing that disruption in the industry does not mean that our traditional role as the regulator goes out of it, right? In fact, it helps enable our own role, because we are then, better able to have more stakeholders, and stakeholder engagement will now even, increase. So I think it's a splendid first step. I know that there are a lot of insurtech businesses that, like I said, we're bubbling under, that will then take advantage of these opportunities and start, seeing or showcasing what they can do. Now, what that does is that it also has a rebound effect, because as people begin to see other people take the bull by the horn, they then, like I said, they then start coming in more, and then we start seeing more and more players. And then the industry now starts getting more robust and deeper in terms of the breadth and the width of people who are coming into that industry. So initially, you might see insurtech sort of come in at a particular entry point alone, thinking that that's the only way that it will come in. But as more and more stakeholders come into that space, you would see insurtech coming at different areas, from claims management to even how people adopt insurance policies, and even the brokers and the agents that we have today. You would see them also change when that then happens, because their own ways of attracting new customers for insurance companies would also need to change, because they are seeing a lot of demand from people requiring certain experiences, and if you are not giving that type of experience to them, then it's almost as if you want to go out of business yourself. So you will then be forced to also make those innovations. So what it does is it drives everybody up, and it benefits everybody, both stakeholders, both players in that industry, and the regulators themselves.
Okay, well said. As we go about rounding up, this Bima Lab program in Nigeria, do you think it will unleash the insurtech and the insurance space?
I think it would be a good first step. So I would not say, like people say, there are so many routes into the market. It's not just one way that goes into the market. I think this is one of such ways that can then help, galvanize more and more participation within that insurtech space. I think it's a very good first step. I think it will also bring people and drive more awareness about insurtech generally, so that more players, more innovative people come into the space and start solving particular problems, because the industry has so many problems that are just left there to be solved by technology. If you look at everything, both from even up to the quote, getting a quote for your insurance policy. So I want to go somewhere on a platform, on a mobile application, and easily be able to say, look, this is how much I'm going to pay for this particular thing. Have that quote either emailed to me or something, so that when I'm ready to take action, I can immediately do that. I also want to go away from the paper, I'm going to fill this, I'll scan this, I'll upload this, I'll sign this, and I'll send that. I want a platform that enables better experience for me. So all of these different problems are there and are glaring. So a system or insurtech comes into that space and picks one of the problems and does a good job of solving that problem. You have unlocked an experience value for your customers. And so when people come in and they are using your platform and they see that the experience is actually very good, it starts turning things around. The narrative, the discussions, everything starts becoming more positive. So I think it's a very good first step.
Okay, Mr. Aiden. I was at a fora, an insurance fora, and the issue, conversations around adoption of technology to drive insurance operations also came up. And one issue that also came up that somebody brought to the fore was the fact that the internet penetration in Nigeria is still very low. So for a country, vast country with a population of 200 million people, insurance is penetration, they are struggling with 1% before COVID. After COVID, 0 point something percent now. Oh, how not so many, when people talk about adoption of technology, they are also just talking about the elite in the major cities, alienating those in other parts of Nigeria or in rural areas. How will people in my village, to use this as people in my village, they don't have access to the internet. So if I put my products online, or I have one insurtech that can sell insurance products, I'm also not reaching out to those in those rural areas. I just want your thoughts on that.
So the way I would look at that is the fact that technology is actually broad. Technology is very, very wide. Like I also said, technology is an enabler of things, right? So where you are talking about the elitists and the elites today, taking advantage of it because they have some technology, there's also mobile technologies that are available, right? And these are technologies that go down to all of the rural areas. You have USSD, you have all of those technologies that you can tap into. The thing that I see with technology is that understanding of the makeup of the Nigerian state and the penetration of technology in different areas helps in sort of shaping the kind of solutions that will work in specific areas. So you understand that in very urban cities like Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, and a few other places, you know that things like mobile, having a mobile application, having a web application, and all that works, and you will get a lot of adoption for it. But if you want to go into the hinterlands and you want to go into all those places, then you need to start looking at basic mobile technologies. You need to start looking at USSD. You need to start looking at even SMS as ways in which you can sort of improve the experience for those people and then get them to sort of key into it. So, and this, as this is done, we are also experiencing a seismic shift as well in penetrations, as well as access to this technology even in very rural areas. So it's growing. So we can't, as industry players, say that, oh look,
It's
because this
just for the
penetration is not here, I'm not ready to roll out yet, right? So we are saying roll out, but customize your rollout solution to the areas and the types of adoption you hope to get for those places. The more urban areas, that this type of technologies work, but you also fashion something that does not alienate people that are within this particular space and also get them to adopt. So that's the way I would look at that.
Okay, finally, Mr. Idem, 5 years. Okay, I know you had mentioned that 5 years from now, what do you see in the insurance space in terms of adoption of technology?
Okay, so I think that what I would love to see are a couple of things. I would love to see insurance become more personalized. And I say that all the time because I think that in terms of terms, in terms of the way that we want to sort of pay for our insurance, it will continually change. In the US and in other places, you pay for your car insurance on a monthly basis. Today, in Lagos specifically, there is the sort of monthly rent conversation that is going on
right now,
so that people are not paying rent annually but can then pay rent monthly. And I think that those are the kinds of things that we will begin to see, because if I pay my insurance on my vehicle on a monthly basis, I can do my comprehensive insurance easily. I don't have to be relegated to third party because of budget constraints. I can say if I drive a 12 million naira car, I'll say no problem. My insurance is what, 5% or 4% of that, give me at this rate, break it down into monthly payments for me, and it's easy for me. I factor that in as my monthly, sort of my monthly subscriptions that I'm getting, and I'm beginning to pay for that as I would pay my DSTV bills or my internet bills as well. So we want to begin to see more personalization and more flexibility in terms of terms of the insurance, like I've said. We also want to see an insurance process that is less cumbersome, that is less driven by paper, traditional ways, and all of that. We want to see a better onboarding experience for, say, for instance, a first-time, insurance policy holder, right? I just turned 18, and my dad just got me a car for turning 18. That 18-year-old boy, how will that boy look at, getting insurance for their vehicle? What would impact, what would influence his decision for getting one particular, insurance over the other? Those are decisions that must be made. Also is the issue of a very undifferentiated insurance product space. So today, that same 18-year-old boy can have the entire 55 insurance companies sell him an insurance policy that is similar. So there's really no difference. Save for a few that have this or have that, there's really no difference, right? So it's a largely undifferentiated market. But going forward, we want to see products that are built around lifestyles, products that are built and customized for each individual or each segments of individuals, so that it allows, for instance, the way you would somebody that has just started driving, the amount of risk that is involved there would be significantly different from somebody that has been driving for the last 30 years, who has had an insurance, has been renewing their insurance for the last 30 years, who probably hasn't had even any claims on their insurance. So even up to the type and ways of driving, the driving style and all of that, these are things that then must start imputing on how we build insurance products. So that.
But sorry, Mr. Eden, to cut into your thoughts, some of these things you have itemized in other clients in the UK market where it works, it stems from data. They have data. You come to us, we collect data, we follow up on the data. We know as you're growing, as you're changing, as your lifestyle is changing, we are collecting those data, and that informs us. But in this market, that is lacking.
I was actually going to go there to data, because data is actually what crowns everything. Without the right data, you cannot plan. Without the right data, you cannot sort of put together very informed decisions, or make very informed decisions around your customers, their behaviors, and essentially what kind of products that you want to give to them. I think that as insurance industry stakeholders, I think it has gotten to the point that data must now be at the forefront of our priority checklist in terms of how do we harness and get our customer data. How do we manage this data? So what type of data policies do we have internally? And are we even making strong data policies internally, so that customers also have a lot of comfort in us that their data isn't going to be breached or used for nefarious purposes?
Premiumbeat.com.
All right, welcome back. Moving on, we now bring you highlights from the MIPAM 2022 Business Outlook session that was held recently at the Radisson Blu Hotel Ikeja. The consensus at the end of the session was that the Nigerian business environment will continue to be in a VUCA state, especially with the general elections around the corner. Business leaders must, however, continue to reinvent their processes through collaboration and partnership for survival.
The Media Independent Practitioners Association of Nigeria, MIPAN, was founded in 1999 to develop and improve advertising media profession in Nigeria. Over the years, MIPAN is known to inspire, lead, promote, train, and advance the knowledge of media independent practitioners in the field of advertising media and marketing communications. MIPAN, in line with its vision, recently put together its 2022 Business Outlook session with the theme Growth Possibilities in a VUCA Economic Environment, Myth or Reality, ahead of a pre-election year. How leaders can make the future at the Radisson Blue Hotel, Ikeja, Lagos. Keynote speaker was Mr. Taiwo Oyedele, Africa Tax and Fiscal Policy Leader, PricewaterhouseCoopers. As expected, media practitioners turned out in their numbers for the business session. Welcoming participants to the session, Mr. Femi Adenusi, President MIPAN, said that despite the pandemic, opportunities will continue to be present in the Nigerian economy given the size of our population.
Without preempting the views and the perspectives and the directions of our keynote speaker, I believe Nigeria and the Nigerian economy will continue to stay resilient. I believe that there will be growth opportunities. Many sectors will face challenges, but even within this, as we have seen in the last 2 years, many businesses will grow and expand. The question is, what do we need to do to be among those few? One thing is sure, our 200 million size population, the size of the Nigerian youth, the adaptivity to technology, the growth in, Nigeria being a mobile first market and leading in many ways from that perspective across the world. The rate of adoption of technology by a very sophisticated, dynamic, young population. All these factors point to one thing. Despite the pandemic, opportunities will continue to be present and available in the Nigerian economy. So our encouragement is to businesses will be to continue to stay positive, to invest in Nigeria, and to believe. Like I said earlier, for you to win in Africa, you must win in the Nigerian market.
Delivering the theme of the business session, the keynote speaker, Mr. Oyedele, stated that potentially speaking, Nigeria is a rich country, but in reality, we are poor.
So, my conclusion here is that a country cannot be rich when its people are multi-dimensionally poor. Nigerians have plenty of poor people. You guys don't know poverty. When I speak to people in Lagos, I think sometimes they are disconnected from reality. People are poor in Nigeria. They wake up in the morning, they have no idea where one meal will come from.
The high point of the annual MIPAN Business Outlook session is a panel discussion. Panelists this year were Mr. Kinwande Ademusu, MD CEO, Credit Direct, Mr. Emeka Okeke, Group Managing Partner and CEO, Media Fields Denso International, Mr. Uche Nwanli, Marketing Manager, Guinness Nigeria, and the keynote speaker, Mr. Taiwo Oyedele. Moderator of session was Mrs. Brenda Nwagu, CEO, KVT Media Limited. Sharing thoughts during the panel discussion, Mr. Nwani noted that the biggest challenge businesses face today is finding the right talent and retaining them.
The battle that we are, mitigating against now is a battle for talent. In this global world, with the uncertainty and with the kind of dire impact it has on Nigeria particularly, our battle, our struggle is with getting the right talent and retaining them. Partly because, as a marketing function, the currency is creativity and your ability to be creative and using that to drive business performance. And no one is the repository of knowledge when it comes to creativity. You would have to go find it wherever it may be. And finding it is very expensive. Creativity has become a lot more expensive, right? So that's kind of like the challenge we're trying to navigate. And more than ever before, we have learned to lean heavily on our agency councils, lean heavily on individuals within culture that shape culture. We like to call them cultural kingmakers. We've spoken at length about them in this space where we're talking about some of the more informal media giants that we have right now. Yeah, so we're leaning a lot more on them because they have a much better understanding of the culture than we do. Right? I'm a 35-year-old young man, and I'm trying to sell a brand that we want to appeal to 24 and 28-year-olds. To do that, we need to get the people who understand the AIOs of the consumer that we are dealing with. And there are certain things that are not mediated. There are certain things that you have to have lived those experiences for you to be able to connect with those consumers in that way. So I think our challenge right now is in productivity from a talent perspective.
The 2022 MIPAN Business Outlook session was a huge success as participants got value for attendance. Business across sectors in general and in Nigeria in particular are waiting for the year 2022 with bated breath, especially with Omicron variant of COVID-19 and the 2023 general elections in the horizon.
That's our time on the program this week. Many thanks for being with us. Feel free as always to connect with us on all our social media platforms. Until next time, from the entire crew, it is goodbye.